right, now we back with another one, man. If y'all been following us for the past couple of weeks, we've been watching the Netflix series called Worst Roommate Ever, and we just wrapped up with that banger last week. Five.
Thumbs up.
But we got another one for y'all on Netflix, man, that's just as good. If you've seen season 1 of the series called Homicide, that one was based in New York. Season 2 is based in Los Angeles, California. Episode 1 started off just as raw, man. This whole series, instead of taking to the mind of the serial unaliver himself or the criminal himself, this time you on the side of the homicide detectives, the DAs, the judges, and everybody on this side of the field. And
yeah.
I ain't finna cap. If you already seen season 1, you know what we talking about. That shit fire. And right now we on season 2, Los Angeles, and to start off rip with Phil Spector. A lot of y'all gotta know this man, a big time record producer from back in the days. When this happened again? In
the actual unalive.
Yeah. Cause it was all over the media.
This happened in 2003. California, Los Angeles. Turn.
Dude was a crazy dude, man. Rich man. He even had his house, a big old mansion in a small neighborhood.
It's a castle. It's a literal castle. Like that bitch say castle on it and all. Like
in a middle class neighborhood.
And that's how he got her back to the house. Cause he was like, you gotta come to the castle, and that's how he got Lena
Clarkson. That's how he murdered her, man. But this was big news back in the days. I'm talking about all over the airways, all over the media, all over the press. Cause this is like one of the first celebrities that ever convicted in like the past
40 years. 40 years. This is how much we all know from presidents, music artists, movie stars. The more influence you have, the more power you have. And now we can see it this day with social media influencers.
Yes.
We know this.
Yes.
So this is before social media took off, blew up. MySpace and Facebook was jumping, but he was a famous music record
producer. Talk about people like the Beatles, Whitney Houston, all these big names. Some of the biggest names you think of.
You can imagine how much influence this man had in Los Angeles alone.
This man had this thing on lock, man. So all for real. Like I say, we make the show raw because they tell you the story from the detective side and how they have to solve these cases, put pieces together to get these guys behind bars. But let's go and get straight into it, man. This happened back in 2002 or 3. One of them
2003.
Years. 2003. Lena Clarkson, she used to be an expiring actress. That's why she stayed in Los Angeles, California. She played in a couple of different
Barbarian Queen,
a couple of little small roles that she had, but she messed around and broke both of her wrists.
Yeah, she fell.
Taking a tumble.
Yeah.
So she kind of lost her job as an actress and got a job at the House of Blues, which is a big time nightclub in California that all the who's go there. And she was able to work a certain room where all the biggest of the biggest, I'm talking about the top celebrities, to come here.
Yeah, she's introducing her friends to George Clooney, all types of celebrities.
The big dogs.
Yeah.
So one specific night, Phil Spector, he pull up in there with like boom, 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 blase. She made him confused and they actually thought he was a female.
He's like 5'6",
like a little troll,
long hair. So she was probably drawn to because she's a hostess at a bar. So,
but he looked weird. He looked funny. You see him? He's a funny looking guy. So anywho, he walk up in the owner of that club, House of Blues, had to come and tell Lena like, hey, listen, you don't know who you're talking to. This is Mr. Phil Spector. This is a big dog. Whatever he want, you
treat him like gold.
Treat him like gold.
That's the specific words. Treat him like gold.
So she was like, damn, and she's still an expiring actress now. So she was like, damn, so this the who's who, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But a lot of her friends and the families have came out that she was not a gold digger. She was not a penis rider to make it to the top. She actually wanted to work to make it to the top.
But let's all be real. When you're trying to become successful, it's all about who you know. Your network is everything. And he is the who's
this is
who.
The guy. This is Phil Spector. Look him up. You're going to know him.
Yeah.
So he spent his night there. They kind of mingle so much, you know what I'm saying? But I guess they got into a deeper conversation because on the way out, she actually left with him. They got video recordings and footage of her helping him back to his limousine driver. What dog name was? The driver name.
Adriana
Adriana D'Souza.
D'Souza, yeah.
Adriana D'Souza. He was the limo driver. He played a pivotal key in this whole thing.
Yeah.
So Mr. Phil, no, I'm bad. Miss Lena Clarkson helped Phil back to his car on video.
He's drunk.
He drunk as hell, but he told her, hey, you need to come back and come see my castle.
Yep.
And for what reason or not, she got in the whip and they rode to go see his castle. The driver was Adrian. He dropped them off. He sat in the car. He said he kind of like his full-time driver, Adrian. So he always was driving in places, just sit in the car, taking naps and sleep. So he took this lady inside, and this when stuff got crazy. The 911 call came in that following morning, like early in the morning.
Yeah. Around 5 in the morning is when the chauffeur heard the gunshot.
Yeah.
And he got out the car because he was like, man, that was a loud behind noise. He's parked behind the house. She's sitting in the foyer at the back of the house. So she's just on the other side of this door. And it gets crazy because what he does is, even with all type of celebrities, he will lock these people in this foyer until he's ready to let them go. It's weird. We'll get into that in a minute. But she's on the other side of this door. So he kind of like walked a little bit toward the door open. He has a white dinner jacket on. And he steps out. He sees a couple little blood spatters. Adriana, the chauffeur. And he sees them. And he looks like sideways in the door. And he can see the woman's legs. And it looks like
she's not moving.
And you know, I guarantee his eyes are this big.
He's scared.
And he's like, he literally told this man out his mouth.
This was Phil Spector told the driver, straight up.
I think I killed him. I think I killed somebody. It's his exact words. He had the perfect reaction. Do you know what it was?
He hold this.
That man, he ain't hesitate. That man seen the blood, seen it, and then he admitted to doing something. He took off, bro.
And they got recorded when he ran, got a safe distance. He called Mr. Phil Spector, the manager, and was like, hey man, I think this man just unalived somebody. I'm about to call the police right now. So then he hung up, called the police next.
Said the same thing.
They told him the same thing, but Phil Spector was already on top of that. He called the police himself and told them, man, this crazy ass B from the House of Blues nightclub came back to my crib going crazy, acting all nutty and stuff, and underlied herself right in my foyer. So I'm pissed off. So he got the police thinking that it was can you say that word? The S word?
She unalived herself.
He got the police thinking that she unalived herself, and that was his whole thing. So when the police finally get there, he's still on the rant like, man, I don't know why she came back to my house and did this and blase.
He put on a show.
Put on a big show. But as the detectives started looking at things, they're like, hold on. These pieces ain't adding up to her to unalive herself. It's looking more like you might have did it, but they can't prove it. And before they even got the call or used the call from the driver beforehand, they couldn't prove nothing. You know what I'm saying? So they was
they didn't even press charges at first.
No charges. But they had, it's a couple of the detectives, I can't remember the detective's name, they had this special like, nah, something ain't right, because the clues they was finding, like how the gun was angled. Because they saying if
after
somebody,
the coroner's report came out,
if you unalive yourself, you would have the kind of gun up to an angle or straight. But for some reason it was pointed down, like somebody had it down her throat.
The T, her bottom teeth. Yeah.
But anywho, this whole criminal investigation got crazy because you got the what's called the city of Los Angeles versus Phil Spector, which is a multi-millionaire back in these days. So he had the resources, he had money, he had power. Yeah. This man was able to fight this case for 7 years.
He was apparently he was very educated, because a few months later was when the coroner's report finally came out and said this was a homicide, and they finally brought charges on him like 2 months after that, or a month. I believe 2 months after that in November, right? Yeah. And as soon as they did that, he started doing all of these interviews immediately. Everybody wants to interview him anyways. Rolling Stone magazine, all these everybody wants to interview this man. He done worked with the best music artists. And he told his story how he wanted it. She came back and was tripping or said she was struggling and this and that and unalived herself, and this was the message he was pushing. She was acting crazy, and the family and friends of Lana even took all of their stories and spun it. The media, they spin their stories to make it seem like she was a struggling, because she was already a B-list celebrity and she wasn't at the top, but she hurt her hands because she broke them.
That was his whole motive, to paint a picture of her as a person who was just not going to make it. Was just ready to end it all.
She was unhappy, depressed because she was struggling because she can't achieve her dreams.
That's it. But the dude was so sharp, he kept changing his lawyers every so often to keep getting the trial pushed off. He got some of the biggest name lawyers there was. He got the same dude that defended OJ. He got the same dude that defended other celebrities in the past.
This man's very wealthy, bro.
He got money.
He was pushing out so much. A few years, like 4 years later, he even got married, bro.
Another chick, wild fighting unalive.
Rachel Short is her name. He ended up marrying her, and she ends up doing some green BS in the trial, bro. Cause she was sit behind why they the prosecutors giving the evidence. She'll be back there laughing and mocking, trying to let the juror know that she was trying to make Lana look less of a person, less of a human being, like she wasn't gonna be nothing, and laughing at the evidence that they were trying to prove that he was guilty, and like it wasn't real.
So if you want to go on record and be real, this was actually the first Me Too movement ever recorded.
Yeah.
Because once this came out, what happened to Lana Clarkson during that whole trial, 5 or 6 other females came up and said, hey, he kind of did the same thing to me. He had a thing with, he liked to carry guns and point them at you. Even one lady said he went as far as to say he couldn't just make regular advances at me, but instead he wanted to make it seem like he was draping me.
This was some BS too on the judge's behalf. They actually had 20 witnesses that was willing to take the stands, and you got famous celebrities, music artists saying, hey bro, my first time recording with him, he pointed a gun at me and told me I'm gonna go record this song.
Yeah.
And out of these 20, he was only able to use 5. That's why he chose them. That's why they chose the women, because all of the stories lined up. They took him home, pulled the gun out. He actually slapped him with the weapon, took something that he shouldn't have took. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then his money stretched so long, he went out and found world-renowned professionals in the field of the coroner's field, in the field of science and all type of things, and got these people to go on
paid these people
plenty of money, and got them to go on stand and lie for him and tell the people of the jury and the people who watching to say this was definitely a self-inflicted, unaliving situation. There's no way that he did it trying to make it seem like with the way the gun was pointed, how the blood splattered, how everything worked out. He had like over 5, I think it was actually 6 different world-renowned professionals go up here and lie for him, and people was going for it.
Which is crazy because he actually has been arrested for brandishing his gun at people before. Like, he literally has a history and a pattern of complete aggressiveness. You cannot take that away from him. You got all these people willing to testify how many times he pointed the gun and how he pointed the gun at them, slapped them with all types of stuff. This little man was a violent man.
And then the key evidence you had was his driver. His driver literally went to the front door right after it happened, seen him with the blood on him, and the dude admitted to him, hey, I think I just unalived her. Catch you later. You know what I'm saying? He even had that, but somehow with all his money, all his fame, and all his power, the first trial became a mistrial because the jury could not agree on a verdict. So
10 people found him guilty. 2 people said he wasn't guilty. So he had a hung jury.
I think there was deliberation. There was a deliberation for, I think, approximately 14 days. Until the point one of the key jurors, he came out and said, listen, man, forget it. These people are sold on. He said some stuff on stand. We're like, man, forget it. We can't come to a conclusion, because he was able to use his money to trick them. He said, "No, what? I said too much," and he just said, "I'm done with it," and left. And that was year 6 after she was actually unalive. It took a whole nother year of year 7 for them to come back, to go back to trial again. And the main attorneys on the side of the state was like, "Listen, we're not changing our style. We're gonna do the same thing because there's no way. All the evidence point this way." So it was pretty much the truth versus power.
But they got the pictures that they took, right? The bolt, the lock on the door was on the ground.
Yep.
Right? And some of the people's stories was matching up that the artist would want to go home and he'll be like, "All right, just wait right here, I'll be right back." And he'll take the bolt off of the door and it would be locked in his foyer for hours before they could go home. And in the picture that they were taking with the evidence, it was on the ground.
Yep.
So now they had a bunch of people's stories matching up that he would lock these people in his room. And the women that took the stand will also admitted they locked them in his room.
Yep.
So now that they had the picture of this bolt, the deadbolt, the lock that you twist on the ground, it made sense clearly. That's what he did with Lana.
Yeah.
He locked her in the foyer. Probably waited for her to fall asleep like he did these other women. Came down here when she was tired. Tried to make advancements on her physically and intimately. She probably ain't go for it. He's already pissy drunk.
Drunk as hell. Got control issues.
And if it was an accident, he never claimed it was. He claimed not guilty the whole time.
Said she did it herself. Episode, great episode. The whole more episode is, I can't say what happened that night or that day when it happened because we wasn't there obviously, but the whole show, see the whole, what is it called, episode 1, it was like it was the truth. All the evidence clearly point this way, but it just shows you as long as you got enough of this right here, enough of that cheese,
And
you can make it go that way.
Yeah.
End of the day, he was found guilty after
April
7
13th,
years.
2009. This
7
happened in 2003. April 13, 2009, he was finally found guilty. He was sentenced to 19 years to life.
I don't even get sentenced to life.
He actually passed away in prison back in 2021.
Okay.
At French Camp in California. He passed away. I'm going to tell you something that they should have done personally, because you know we do the little research and see what else we could find. He was actually married before Rachel Short. He was actually married to one of the people that they call the Queen of Rock. She was from Harlem, New York. Her name was Ronnie Bennett, and she started the group the Ronettes with her cousin and her sister. And her band was up under his label. And they ended up falling in love, getting married. They had a son, Dante. They got married. She was 17. He was 24. They were going to divorce right?
Yep.
8 years later, they were divorcing. When they divorced, she was threatening to take half of his stuff. And he's already successful. And he specifically told her, "I will hire a hitman to unalive you if you take anything from me." And she just left with nothing.
She was dead sick. He was dead
and
serious.
They didn't even use. They can't use her. My bad. I apologize. She passed away a few years ago too.
Okay.
So that's my personal fault. But they couldn't even use her. But they had her report saying this, so I wish they would have at least used the report. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about him you literally just see all that. When you watch the episode, if you do watch it, every bit of evidence to the common mind person like myself pointed towards, hey, bro, you did this. But that just show you how much money and power these celebrities actually have. He had world-renowned people go up there and lie for him. Lie for him, spin the truth for him, to tell these people like, no, man, come on, man. That episode 1 is a real eye-opener to how the justice system really working, who actually in control, who actually got the power or not. Because the whole trial was just bullshit from beginning to end. Like, bro,
And listen, man.
Come on, man.
You got kids that are teenagers, or I don't really know the age limit that watch these specific videos that we post. But if you're our age, a little bit young, whatever. If you're hitting the club scene and you see people with money and stuff, don't get it twisted. because there's people like him
Oh yeah,
still out here.
better believe it. With way less too.
Be cautious, be careful.
More recidivism.